Hi guys, welcome to my presentation for Full Sail University Web Interaction Animation class. This presentation is about Toastr, which is a JavaScript library for non-blocking notifications. This library requires jQuery and is very simple to use and customizable. So we will see how simple it is to use. Basically, you download the library and copy the JavaScript and CSS files to your project. Just add the reference on your HTML file to the Toastr CSS as well as the jQuery JavaScript library and the Toastr JavaScript library. And pretty much you're ready to use the Toastr object. And using the Toastr object with the different methods, you can start creating messages for different message types. Here is an example of how this HTML with the references will look like. You can see the normal HTML with the head, and on the head we can see right here the reference to the Toastr CSS. Then within the body we can see the reference to the jQuery and the Toastr JavaScript libraries. And just for this presentation purpose, I added an example of a JavaScript code calling the Toastr object and the .info method to create an informational message type. There are different types of messages you can display, and again, these are non-blocking messages, so they will just show somewhere on the screen. You can customize the location of the message, and they will allow you to continue working and automatically disappear by themselves based on the timeout settings that you specify. Or you can, if you want to, you can configure it to stay there until you actually close the message and so on. You can display error messages, success, warning, and information messages. And you can see that by default, they are automatically configured with certain color: red for error message, green for success, yellow, orange for warning, and finally blue for the information message. There are many options and configurations you can do using this library. It's very powerful and very easy to configure. It supports multiple messages, it prevents duplicates, you can change the display sequence of the messages. If you want, for example, the latest message to display on top or on the bottom, you can show and hide the messages with different animations and timeouts. You can even have a progress bar during the actual message that will display how long will the message be on the screen. You can customize a close button or not have one at all. And then you have a series of callbacks methods that you can, or events that you can program with your own custom code. And again, you can change the display position for those messages. Here is a couple of examples of some of the configurations that you can do. It's very simple. Just within the Toastr options, you set the different options to whatever values you want. And that's it, guys. I hope you got the idea. I believe this type of library is very easy to use and very, very usable within any application. You always want to display messages to notify the user what's going on your application, such as when an event, an asynchronous event, finish happening, when they were successfully able to save a record, or they had an error, and so on. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the example of this project example that I created using this library. Okay guys, here is the example of the project using this notification library. I'm going to refresh the page, and you can see right here at the right how different messages types will display. Some of them will automatically hide, some of them will stay longer, especially if I move the mouse over. You could also see that one of them even has a progress bar indicator to show you how long it's going to stay there, and even a close button that you can close it at any time. I also created this text box and button so you can display whatever message you want to type over here. Click on the button and you will actually be able to display that message at any time. So now I'm going to display a walkthrough on how to create this project. Okay guys, here is the actual project using the library. As you can see, it's a very simple project. It only contains the Toastr CSS as well as the jQuery and the Toastr JavaScript library and an index page. That's it. And to show you that it's very simple to actually use, I'm going to go ahead and create a new empty HTML page called index2. And I'm just going to get automatically the regular HTML body. And right there, you're going to see, or the composition, I'm sorry. And right there, you're going to see that on the head, I'm going to insert my Toastr CSS reference. And then on my body, right before closing the body, I'm going to add my jQuery requirement reference as well as my Toastr reference. So right now I can go ahead and create my own jQuery JavaScript file and add the reference, or just go ahead and insert right here my own JavaScript code and I start using the library. So if I go ahead and use the Toastr object and I call any of the info, warning, success methods, I can go ahead and create a new message, and I'm just gonna say new message test. So once I do that, I'll go ahead and run this page. It will probably come out somewhere else on the screen. Oh, I'm lucky. There you go. So it came out here. You can see the message right there. And eventually after the timeout, it will hide. But again, it's a non-blocking message. I can continue working my application. Everything, continues fine. I hope, of course, on my project, I actually added more functionality. I actually went over here and I created an input text box, and I put an ID on it just to easily get it. I put a message ID, I think, and I also created another input button that I also have an ID on it. I call it display message. So then I went and I wrote my own code. So instead of actually displaying this specific message, I want to display the actual message that somebody writes on the text box. So I can go ahead and write a jQuery. Since I have the jQuery library accessible to me, I can go ahead and use jQuery selectors and select by ID my button, which in this case is display message. Now that I have my button, I can go ahead and use the jQuery click method and go ahead and display the actual message that they typed. So for that I will get, using jQuery again, the actual text box, which the ID again is message. You can see it right there. So I'm going to use the ID selector, select my message, and get the value that is inside the text box. So once I have that, and I pass it on to, oops, I forgot to actually move my Toastr info or whatever Toastr type of message type I want to use, and then inside the Toastr dot whatever method I want, let's say that I want to use the success instead of the info, I'm going to pass the message that they wrote. Of course, I don't need this anymore, and I will close my line using my JavaScript. I probably have an extra, or I'm probably missing one of those parentheses. So let me go ahead and try this, and hopefully, if I'm lucky, I think I actually have it already open here, so I'm going to refresh. I got automatically, oh, you're right. I got this empty message automatically because the code is running directly instead of actually running on the click for the button. So hold on, let me check it out. And of course, I'm calling, I need to pass a callback function to the click event. So instead of actually running the code just like that, I will pass in the function that will then have the code inside and go with that. So apologize for the mistake. I think I can go all the way over here and then move my code inside there, and I believe I should be fine just like that. So let me try one more time. Hopefully I will be lucky this time. Of course, the button, I didn't specify anything on the button, so let me specify something on the button to display. So it's gonna say on my button, it's gonna say display message or something like that. Let me refresh real quick. There you go. So I'm gonna type a message, hello there, click on display message, there you go, and that's your hello there message. I hope you guys like it, that you understood the idea on how to use this library. It's very easy but very, very powerful, and pretty much in every application you need to have a way to communicate with the user about what's going on in the application. Thank you very much.